Hi there, beautiful souls. Welcome. Namaste. Welcome to my channel. Hi, everybody. My name is Sadhana. And I've decided that on Wednesdays, I'm going to come on regularly to share with you new and old decks in my collection. And one of the things I love to do is do side-by-sides of decks. So if that is ever the situation, I will endeavor to show you multiple decks. And I was going to do that today, but I haven't spent enough time with this deck. And I might eventually, in a few weeks' time, do a side-by-side with another botanical deck. So today we're going to spend a little bit of time with the Forager's Daughter. I have not taken the cello off the cards, but I have had a good look through the extra guidebook. And this will just be an initial impressions. I do have some initial impressions already, and I want to show you the Kickstarter package. And that's it. So just to look through this beautiful deck by Jessica Lei Howard. And if you're interested in the deck, the link is in the description box below. Okay, so welcome. Tammy-Ann, thank you so much for your Rose Quartz sponsorship. So I haven't talked about Rose Quartz member for a while, and to tell you the truth, a lot of the Rose Quartz members are very quiet. Only a few of them have come for readings or more than one reading. And if you decide to sponsor this channel, join this channel at the Rose Quartz level, I have a complimentary check-in with you, 15 minutes a month, or you can bank that and have an hour reading in a month's time. So it's entirely up to you. So thank you very much, Tammy-Ann. I really, really appreciate it. Sharon, Trio of Witches. So you have both versions of this deck. This one that we're looking at today is the Afterlight version, and I'll talk a little bit about Afterlight and why it's called Afterlight. I did not get the original version, and I'm also going to tell you why I chose not to originally back it. Welcome to Michelle. Long time no see. Hello, lovely. So thank you for being here. Okay, let's hope that the internet stays strong. I just saw a flash of the internet, and that's not a good thing. It's been very, very sketchy over the past few days. So this is the velvet bag that came with the Kickstarter package. This box is simply gorgeous. If you're a box person, just look at I've got the ribbon sticking out. Look at the beautiful edges on this box. And I cannot compare this to the other version because I don't have it. So it's a clamshell box, just really, really pretty. These are the cards. And I'm going to open the bookmark, which I have a few of these now, actually. This seems to be a very trendy thing, the metal bookmark. And it is in a cello, which I should have already opened. Okay. It's good to know your content resonates with people. It's wonderful. So this is the metal bookmark. So this is the cicada. And the cicada, I think, appears, I'm not sure if it appears in more than one card. And I have an interesting story about cicada. Not so interesting, but just a fond memory of my years in Japan, especially return visits. So I went back this summer that I was getting married. You know, most people stick around, have bridal showers and whatnot. Well, I took off and I went back to Japan, and I did an immersion, like an advanced language training course. And I stayed with this family, and I just remember the cicadas at a certain point of the summer, and they're called semis in Japanese, and how loud they were and how big they were. Some of them were like the size of a thumb digit from the base of the thumb, and some of them were even bigger. They're actually kind of terrifying. They're a symbol of transformation, and anyway, so I have personal contact with this creature. We don't have them here in British Columbia, and if we do, I'm not aware. This is the extra coin. So this is the coin that came, and it's funny. My partner, he says, "Ooh, that would make a great." I forget what he said. So he plays poker. And when you're playing poker, so the dealer doesn't sweep your cards away, you have a card protector. And he says that would be a good card protector for you. He has a rather rude one, but this is really gorgeous. Yeah. Lovely brass coin. Okay, let's get into the cards. Yes, they are. They are so very, very, very loud. Yeah. Now, I was on earlier today with Mystic Rose Tarot, Amy Mystic Rose Tarot, and Julianne Victoria, who used to be Peacock. I forget what her channel used to be called. Something about a peacock, Peacock's Lens, or something like that. And Tarot Stash Gerald. We were all on together talking about traditional older decks versus contemporary decks. And you know what? It's taken me a long time, and this has been slowly happening over the past, I want to say, 3 years. And I said that 2022 was going to be a low buy year. Forager's Daughter was purchased last year, I believe, the Kickstarter. And this year, 2022, I don't think I've actually purchased a tarot deck. Part of the reason for this is that I don't need any tarot decks. And what I am looking for in a tarot deck does not seem to be available. I have been so enjoying all of my deck deep dives and going back to older decks, looking at their web of wisdom and the sigils and the symbols and the layers of color and the wisdom of the deck creator. And generally speaking, there are not a lot of contemporary decks. Excuse me, I can't see. I need to wipe my glasses. And unfortunately, this is one of them, that do not discuss the reasons for stepping away from the structure of the tarot. And while this is a gorgeous deck, it is in a color palette that I absolutely love. There's a few things that are not going to work for me as a tarot deck. And I think I've just over the years become more and more discriminating. And now I know exactly what it is that I want in a tarot deck. So I may use this as an oracle. I may use this in conjunction for just a 3-card reading with another botanical. I think this would look amazing with Soulflower or the black botanical deck. It might look great with that. So yeah. So, and I'll talk about what these things are that I feel are not going to work for me. So this is the Afterlight Edition. So what is Afterlight? It is this amazing time of day. I think it's my second favorite time of day. I love dawn. Dawn is just such a beautiful frequency, but Afterlight is that space between day and night. It goes by lots of names. Dusk is another name. And so there's this glow that comes with it. And I used to live in Whistler, which is a mountain community in British Columbia, Canada. And in the summers, especially, if you could go up the mountain and see the alpenglow. The alpenglow was this absolutely gorgeous effect of the sunset and the light, and it was just so magnificent. So I'm all over this time of day, and some of the symbols in this deck are truly beautiful. I love the colors, and there's a few things that are really gorgeous. So, Aliza, I'm not doing readings today, love, and I might be able to help you with that in a little bit if you want to stick around. We're going to go through this deck and look at the beautiful artwork. And so I thought what I would do I don't know if you want me to do this or not. Okay, we should have a quick, I see a lot of you have this, so you're probably just looking for my opinion. But I'm not doing a detailed review. So so here's my question. Would you like me to read the artwork description? I think it will help us to get into the mood of each card. But many of you who are watching live have this. I think I'm going to do this because they're really sweet and they're really short. And I think it will help with, yeah, I think I'll do that. Sorry, I'm voting yes. It's going to take a little bit longer, and I will pause and reflect throughout. Okay, they're pretty slippery, but we'll try to do this. Okay. Anyway, congratulations on the job offer, and we'll see how this goes, and maybe we can do a little reading later. A great tap root has buried itself deep in the ground, and a series of pathways have branched magically from it, all leading in different directions. Tiny saplings have taken root nearby, and a spotted egg lies on the ground, cracked. Was it damaged as it fell from a nest, or is this new life breaking free from inside? Above, a monarch butterfly emerges from its chrysalis, fragile, but ready to begin its next phase of life. So one thing that is different in this deck is that there are multiple symbols representing the energy of the card. I've had a quick look at a few different layers looking to see if we are picking up on the astrological or elemental associations. And it's not clear whether that is working in this deck. The creator does not discuss it in the book. So typically this is connected with the element of air and the planet Uranus, correct? So these are things that I'm going to start to look for. But generally speaking, these symbols do work for the energy of the Fool. We have the emergence of a creature from within the egg, presuming if the egg didn't fall and it's dead. So it's funny that she says that in the guidebook, because if the egg fell, we want to see new life. So the emergence of the monarch butterfly from the cocoon totally works, and the tap roots, the networks, the paths that are open. This feels powerful. Now, each of the suits also has a different shape of frame or a different symbol within the frame. So for the major arcana, we have the oval or the shape of the egg symbolizing something quite, let's see, what deck could I go to? Think about Kim Kranz's animal deck. I'm pretty sure that's the deck where she has the golden egg and there's different eggs. So the metaphor of the egg is very spiritual. And so and this is just on the fly, I just noticed this. There's something about that shape connecting with ether, which is really powerful. I have read a few of her descriptions in this beautiful hardcover book with shiny paper. And this is I feel this is a person who is very early in their tarot journey. And while she is deeply, deeply connected to the plants, the foraging, the animals, nature, and all of that, the descriptions seem to be very fixed in a simplistic Rider-Waite-Smith interpretation and a little bit of her own flavor with that. So what I'm not picking up on is experience with elements, astrology, other layers, the Kabbalah, chakras. There's no complexity in this deck. That's my initial impression. With the Magician, we see the tadpoles emerging from the water. So she talks about the Magician as a card of transformation. And I suppose in one level, the Magician has the power of transformation through his magic wand. The magician is connected to all of the elements, of course. And so this card takes on quite a different energy. We seem to be connected above and below on the land and on the water. There's that element to this. And so this is very much a transformation card. I'm going to put this to the side, and I'd like to compare this with the 20th Arcanum. So we'll do that. This is the High Priestess. Absolutely gorgeous card. I decided I'm not going to read the poems because it's going to take forever. We do see the triple goddess symbol, and I think this is very clever, how she has the black raven for the black pillar, the owl. Now, the snowy white owl could have been a little whiter if the owl is representing the masculine, right? The conscious energy, consciousness, divine masculine energy, whereas the raven is representing the yin energy, the magic energy. Feminine energy. And then down below, we have a skull, and we have two flowers emerging from the skull. There was something here that I wanted to. She describes it as an ephemeral owl. I love that description. Two ornate flowers have sprouted from within the skull of a tiny creature, and the raven moves freely between darkness and daylight. Yeah. So the High Priestess, this works. This works for the High Priestess for sure. I'll leave those face up. Okay. One of the things that is missing from the description in the guidebook is the, so in both the Emperor and the Empress, we can look at them side by side, there is agate. So we don't get an explanation of why she has chosen agate. We see like a honey-colored agate that is randomly in the Sharon tree, the roses. What are we here? Just a second here. A tawny hair is resting in the shade of a blooming rose of Sharon. And then there is this piece of yellow agate that is there. We also see the agate in the Emperor card in the ground. There's a connection of deepness, ancestry, like the rings in a tree. And we also see the old evergreen trees on either side framing this picture. It's a really gorgeous piece of art with a strong stag overhead. So we see hair representing the feminine, the Empress, fertility, and then the stag representing masculinity. Yeah. I mean, it is beautiful deck. The Harvant is the bullfrog. This is really interesting. The morel mushrooms we see. So she, in the introduction to the book, she talks about foraging morels. I'm not a mushroom forager. I can't tell you what season it is. She talks about it. She's, her parents came from a family of hunters, fishers, foragers, gardeners, and they passed down a love of nature to me through these activities. And we looked for morel mushrooms every spring, fished through the summer, and enjoyed fresh venison in the fall and the winter. So these symbols do repeat throughout the tarot deck, and she's deeply connected for sure to their energy. So the morel mushrooms, she says that their energy is tradition and recognizing pattern. And if you look at the details on the mushroom, you can see that they do have a pattern within within the bulb on the top. I'm not sure what you call that on the mushroom, the top of the mushroom. The toad watches the world patiently, sitting very still and taking in everything around him. The change in the seasons, the weather, the growth and death. So I love that this is a great observer of life. And I think the shaman, the Harvant, is a great observer of life. They're deeply connected to the changes of the seasons, right? They seem to have 360-degree vision. And this fits really beautifully. The toad seems to have a radiant glow about him, something otherworldly and divine. This is a very intriguing card. So we see rose quartz down at the bottom, 2 dragonflies. One is blue, one is red. The red is on the right, so red is masculinity. The blue is on the left. Blue is femininity. All of this fits really nicely. And then we have morning glory. So there's two branches of morning glory that are entwined here, and the dragonfly. So here's another example of my question about, so the Hierophant, the Hierophant is Taurus and Earth. So we're looking, this is a bullfrog. So this is a big frog, a frog that moves a little more slowly, has a deep sound, a deep voice. So that works for me. The Lovers is air, Gemini, and the twins. So that works as well too. And the thing about dragonflies is that they move between water and air, right? They're born, their eggs are laid in water, I believe. So this is very cool, especially with lovers association to water. So I think there has been some more consideration than I'm picking up from what is written in the guidebook. Okay. The Chariot. It's interesting. I have a how can I say this? I think Americans have a different view. People who are outside of Canada have a different view of Canada geese than Canadians do. It's so funny. They are pests. They are pests. And as long as people aren't feeding them and they are kept away from parks and beaches and so forth, it's fine. But it's a challenging animal. It's a challenging creature for me to have on the Chariot card. Flying high above the ground, a team of Canada geese have formed an arrow and are headed towards warmer weather. They are hardwired to migrate at certain times of the year and seem to inherently know where to go, naturally following the ley lines in the land. Thistle is growing along their path, reaching out to snare anyone who passes by. So why thistle? Why thistle? The Chariot card is connected to Cancer. And I haven't done a check to see if the frames, if the colors are connected. So I don't think so, because this is air, purple, blue, water. Maybe. We'll have to keep an eye on this as we go through. I don't think so, but it would be cool if it did that. So yeah, I'm not really sure about that card. The Strength card is a woodpecker, and the flower in the woodpecker is what? Clematis? Yes, clematis. So she has retained some symbols. We see the red coloring on the head. Yeah. Okay, so Tamiana, I see you're in agreement with the Canada, the geese. Yeah, I think it's a funny creature to have on the Chariot card. Woodpeckers. So a brightly colored clematis has been climbing up the tree as well, reaching higher and higher with tendrils. The symbol of infinity grows overhead. So is there a relationship between strength and softness? And I suppose the softness, I suppose this is the relationship. What's that word? The reciprocity, the relationship between the creature and the tree. How the creature lives, what the relationship is between the woodpecker and the tree. I guess that's what we're looking at with the strength and the softness. Yeah. Let's just go on. So Hermit. And so notice strength is 8. So we're following an RWS pattern. Slug or snail probably, down at the bottom. And then we see a firefly up on the top. A snail emerges from its shell to look at the mysterious glow in the sky, and a cluster of mushrooms have released their spores, and the tiny particles swirl in the air as they travel to find their resting spot. So the firefly shines a beacon of light, illuminating the way. The Hermit is an earth card. It is Virgo. Yeah. Okay. Let's go on. The wheel. So we have a mandala. We have a mandala of flowers, daisies. There is a skull, and then there is a hummingbird up at the top. I'm assuming that's a hummingbird. A golden bird flies overhead while the skull of another lies on the ground. So with the wheel card, we're looking at the seasons of life, perhaps. A bird emerging, wings spread wide, and a bird's skull down at the bottom. So the seasons of life. We see growth and decay in the mandala in the center. This is a fire card. So we kind of see a fiery, earthy color in the bird. Okay. If you have other comments, please feel free to pop in here. Justice is number 11, and this is a really interesting mix of creatures. There is a tremendous flow of energy in the water, I'm assuming, or it could just be a flow of energy. There's a frog down at the bottom. The snake, this is like, I know an old lady who swallowed a fly. The dog ate the snake ate the frog. It's an interesting, and why this particular card works for me. So this is about circle of life, karmic balance, that sort of thing. And I feel that energy here. It's not a particularly beautiful card, but I understand its layers. And so let's talk about the mushrooms that are emerging up at the top, because that's really interesting. The frog is hunted by the snake, who is caught by the coyote, who gives way to a cluster of fungi. This is the food chain, a depiction of natural order, and ripples on the water surface move outward from the center of the image. So this is about cause and effect, which is, I think this is a very well thought through card. 12 is the Hanged Man. It's kind of, so a lot of colors going on. So we have autumn. So in autumn, this is a season of decay. Would I associate autumn with the Hanged Man? Wow, I never thought about that. Because the Hanged Man doesn't have an astrological association. There's something kind of funny here. Two intersecting branches have created crossroads from which a chrysalis hangs, and the caterpillar inside has begun its transformation. Protected from the outside world by cocoon walls, maple leaves are simultaneously budding and falling. So the caterpillar that emerges from the chrysalis in the fall. Maybe I'm thinking too much. With autumn, energy, there is a sense of release. There is a sense of letting go. Is that what you're, there is a release in the hangman, like autumn. Okay. $13. The bird depicted on the bottom of the card is dead. A goldfinch has fallen from the sky and now lies lifeless on the ground. Wildflowers have sprouted around its body, growing where bone meets soil. A cicada stretches its wings overhead, and could this be the spirit of a bird reborn, ready to take flight again? So here's another example where I would love to see the cicadas in summer. Death is a card that is associated with Scorpio, which is Samhain, which is either fall if you're in the northern hemisphere or spring if you're in the southern hemisphere. I don't know anywhere where the cicadas are out at that time of year. So this is something that I notice. I definitely notice. 14 is Temperance. So we see here a salamander. The salamander representing fire. We have the sun and the moon. So we have the moon below, the sun above. The salamander, which is typically a sigil of the suit of wands. That works. Sagittarius. Sagittarius is a beautiful fire energy. So that kind of works here. The broad leaves of a wild ginger plant shade a tiny salamander from the heat of the sun as he moves through the leaf litter. He is terrestrial but prefers cool, moist woodland areas. Orbs that represent the moon and sun are suspended in the background. One of the things that I will do as I look at this deck more closely is to see, to look at all of the cards of balance. This is one of them. And to see if they take on individual qualities. In the idea of temperance, there's an action that's required. Tempering. So I'm wondering, I'm just thinking about the action of the salamander, the movement from habitat to habitat, how that's going to fit into the energy of temperance. The devil. I learned something new with this card. I wasn't aware that there was a plant that resembled blackberries that was called Devil's Walking Stick. This was new to me. So this plant in the background that looks like blackberries is called Devil's Walking Stick. This is a particular interpretation of the devil. And I have seen blackberries actually in other devil's cards. So if you think about gorging yourself in the summer on blackberries, which is just so lovely and decadent. So she does talk about indulgence, but the consequences for indulgence, either the consequences are going to be the brambles or the wolf that is in the shadows. So be careful about overindulging and things like that. It is a tangled, I'm just catching the word tangled here in the guidebook. The relationship with the devil is tangled. And I think that's kind of a brilliant word. I love that. But it is a choice, and it is a layer of protection. The devil energy is a layer of protection. So those brambles, the wolf could be, the wolf may not be the devil. The wolf could be you and me in the brambles, protecting itself from something it doesn't want to face on the outside as well too, choosing the difficult path rather than the easy path. And we all do that from time to time. We are our own worst enemy. Okay, so Tower. You see the morel mushrooms down at the bottom. I don't think I need to comment on that. That works. Okay, so let's go to the star. Are these crocuses? So crocuses emerge for me in the early spring. We do see snow. That's kind of beautiful. Snow and ice associated with the star card. That's another thing. Okay, snow and ice associated with star. Does that, I think if you're looking at that astrologically, Aquarius, where I live in the world, that definitely fits. And again, I would like to go through the cards and match up the seasons to see how close the seasons fit to what's going on in North America, which is where the deck creator is from. The North Star. We're looking at a compass. We're looking at the ice melting. Yeah, the flow of water. I find the moon card particularly beautiful. I really like this. There's something about the emerging catfish. I love this card. So far, it's one that just, its energy, I feel its energy. It's beautiful. The catfish emerges from the depths of a pond illuminated by the moon's soft blue glow. Shells have been washed ashore nearby, and further on land, there is a vine of moonflower growing. The bright white faces of the flowers turn upwards toward the sphere in the sky and seem to glow to themselves. So I would, so catfish, I believe, are one of those species that swim in the depths of the water. So for the catfish to emerge towards the surface would be really unusual. So there's something to that. And then we have a more of a spring, late spring, early summer. We see the blossoms, the berry blossoms, the ladybugs. It's really beautiful. Yeah, so that's your sun card. There's a gentleness to this sun card, which I like as well too. And if you think about a traditional RWS sun card with the baby and so forth, there's a fresh energy, right? There's a new energy. Judgment. I said I was going to compare judgment to this card. Okay. I just suddenly got really hot. The rays of light explode from the point of an amethyst crystal, filling the sky with light. A robin is perched on a branch, somehow magically mirrored by a reflection of itself. A nearby rose bush has scattered its petals, leaving the internal rose hips exposed. So this is a huge card of transformation, awakening. And the idea of seeing oneself, a reflection of oneself in the mirror, is not unique for a judgment card. What we don't see in this card is a different perception of oneself above and below. And that is, I've never seen that before, because usually what we see in a reflection is a different perception of oneself. Amethyst is the healer's stone. It has tremendous potential to assist with the transformation. This particular card is connected to Pluto. It has a water and a fire energy. I know I haven't mentioned this with all of the cards. So we do see both elements color-wise connected here. So yeah. And then the world. So rather than putting sigils in the four corners, there are symbols above, symbols below. There's ivy wrapped around. There's ants moving in an upward direction. It feels like this is like all layers of habitat. Pictured here is a flourishing ecosystem with all working parts in perfect balance, from the smallest creature to the largest structure. Each piece fits with the world like a puzzle and helps to hold everything else up around it. The axis mundi connects the sky to the water as well as all other worlds, and a circle of stones spins steadily, held together by deep and old magic. So one of the things that would be really cool in this card, if you were aware of the four elements. Traditionally in the world card, the four elements are represented in the corners of the card by the fixed zodiacal symbols. So we do see water below. We see the herons perhaps above. So there we have water and air. We see earth represented by the stones, and perhaps the element of fire is the light that is emerging from the axis mundi. Yeah, so there you go. So now we have, I'm presuming, yes, now we have all the extra cards. And oh my goodness, this is gorgeous. I love this card. So this card is called, it's not ephemeral, ephemerality. Let's go to the guidebook. Ephemerality. So the Luna Moth. I'm not sure if I have seen a Luna Moth, but there's a couple of different decks I have that have ghost pipes. Maybe they are in Sherilyn Darcy's Flowers of the Night. They might also be in the botanical deck that I was mentioning earlier. Really, really like this card. Will I keep the 5 extra oracles in if I'm going to read this as a tarot? No, I would never keep 5 extra oracles in a deck. I might keep 1. I often do. So I was just looking at the Numinous Tarot earlier, and I keep in the Numinous. I think 1 is enough. 5 extra oracles just turns it into an oracle deck instead of a tarot deck. So what I would probably do is choose one of them, and it's probably going to be this first one because I'm all over this first one. So the 5 extra oracles are Ephemerality, Ancestor, which is a powerful card. And here's another thing. I have just had this idea. So what you could do is to use the 5 oracles as significators. So we have ephemerality, ancestor, stillness, bond, and ingenuity. And I'm thinking that these 5 oracles carry a lot of natural questions within them. So it's quite possible that regardless of the question, you could choose one as a significator or a theme or a background or something like that. And Tamian has a couple of points here I want to just put up here on the screen. I want these as an expanded oracle. It is like the direction of them. Yes, I think so. I agree with you. And again, it has to do with the missing layers. And this is definitely a trend in contemporary decks. So let's go on to the minors. So here is another little beef of mine. So there is something wonderful and incomplete at the same time in this deck. All of the aces are connected to new moon energy. That works beautifully. The pages are connected to waxing crescent. The quarter waxing moon, or the waxing half moon, is the night energy. The gibbous moon is the queen, and the full moon is the king. There's no associations with waning moon. So why would you create a deck that doesn't have half of the moon cycle, or almost half of it, in the deck? It's weird that that's not included. So what she has included is excellent, but there's this big piece that's missing. And I wonder if that piece would be coming in the Oracle deck or something. Yeah. So I'm just wondering about that. Now, here is another question for you. For those of you that have been looking at the deck and have had the previous iteration of it. That's not the file I wanted to open. Just give me 1 second here. My question is regarding, so we're starting in the Suit of Cups, right? We're starting in the Suit of Cups. This is the same in the Hush Tarot. It's the same in the Deviant Moon Tarot and others as well too. The creator does not speak to it. So here's one of my beefs. The tarot, whether we're talking about whatever base system we're working on, there is a fundamental principle of wands, cups, swords, and pentacles. And if a creator decides to deviate from this magical combination that is connected to so many things, I want to know why. I do. I think you need to tell us why, because if you don't, it looks like you don't know what you're doing. And that might sound really harsh, but I want to know why. So we're starting with cup energy first, cup energy associated, and I'm going to see if I can figure this out. So there's my harsh criticism, and now I'm going to try to soften myself here. So new moon, is there a solar? So as we move towards the full moon, there is more sun. So the maximum amount of sun would be with the Suit of Wands. But we see the same moon symbols in each suit. So I don't think that makes any sense at all. So yeah, okay. Hello, Annette. Thank you for your feedback. So this is Annette, everybody. Welcome. All right, so the Suit of Cups. So let's just go through. I'm assuming we have all water animals. So there's turtles. The daylilies are gorgeous. Ducks, 2 mallard ducks swim together in unison under a cascade of cool, clear water. A honeysuckle bush fills the air with heavy fragrance, attracting many nearby pollinators. And then for the 3 of Cups, we have blue gills. 3 fish, 3 cups. Movement of energy. There's a joyfulness to the color. And then look inside the frame. So this is another thing I was talking about. We have the oval for the majors. And then for the Suit of Cups, rather than having a chalice, we have a chalice at the top. And then we have a downward facing chalice at the bottom. So Artistically, it's balanced, but to me, it's kind of weird that we have both an upward and a downward facing chalice. I would have loved to have seen just the chalice in the background. That would make so much more sense. Okay, so let's go to the 4. Scallops in the bottom. Let's read this one. No mussels. Those don't look like mussels where I live. 2 mussels feel the passing currents from their home in the colorful pebbles of a lake bed. They remain mostly closed, opening to release a few bubbles and drink in fresh water. Above them, 2 golden chalices stand at water's edge, the surface reflecting, doubling their image. So yes, the 4 of Cups is about reflection and introspection. And I'll have to spend more time looking at the energy of the species that she's chosen in the card as well, too. Jessica says mussels survive through a filtration process, which means that they can reside within the safety of their shell for most of the day. This process works well for them and can keep them safe from predators. So 4s are about containers, protection. So that works. 5 of chalices, 3 broken in the sand, 2 flowing above. A crayfish digs among the 3 broken chalices. They're now tarnished fragments, almost completely buried in the silt of a river bottom. Moss and algae are beginning to cover the metal and stone. So in this particular card, we see the upward facing, that we see the chalice, and the one down below is kind of hidden. Okay. There is a sweetness and innocence to this card, for sure. There's a sense of reflection, which is an important part of the 6 of Cups. One of the things I'm going to do, so let's pull out, I'm going to pull out all of the 6s. I know I'm going really slow with this, and we're at the hour, and I'm supposed to be on Facebook in 8 minutes. Can you, how do I do this? I can't do that. Okay, I might have to do, it's okay. We'll just go through. I'm going to pull out all of the 6s. I wasn't planning on spending this much time talking about the deck, but I'm quite enjoying this slow little walk through here. Let's go to the 7 of Cups. So the frog cannot decide which bug to choose. That's kind of hilarious. And then in the 8 of Cups, what is going on? So the 8 of Cups is a huge transformation card. We see the snake shedding its skin. That's really beautiful. And then in the 9 of Cups, I just wonder, so the ray of light probably feels really great on the turtles' backs. Afternoon sun radiates down, warming the water in a pond. 3 painted turtles are basking in its rays. They are piled together on a log, enjoying each other's company and warmth of the sun. The water ripples quietly as a soft breeze blows by. This is a picture of tranquility and contentedness. Okay. I do like the light, the effect of the light in the background. Ten of Cups. The wisteria is just gorgeous, for sure. There's a sense of beauty here. And I also think about with the swans, the energy above and below. So there's something about that as well too. Um, that doesn't quite fit here. Okay. And then I just decided what I'm going to do. So I was talking about the moons in this deck. So the pages are associated with the waxing crescent moon. And so here we see the otter, the page of cups, with the waxing crescent moon. So this is a surge, beginning, youthful energy. And this is a layer, a level that works really well in the deck. The Knight. So this is a question I had when I was looking at the big book here. We see a candle. So the moths are attracted to the glow of the candle. Fragrant lavender has been set nearby, its scent permeating the air, and rose quartz also has been placed. So this is the Knight of Cups. And my question here was, is there fire in all of the Knight cards? Is the creator associating the knights with fire and hence the candle? And I did a quick look through and I couldn't see that. As the energy grows from the crescent to the quarter moon, so we go from night to more light, right? More light, more energy. So that I'm quite intrigued with that whole process. Then here's the King and the Queen of Cups. Love that she's got bleeding heart in that one. And we see the gibbous moon for the Queen of Cups. And I smiled. This is the gibbous moon is my natal moon phase. And I love that that's associated with the queens. That's one little thing that is going to pull me into the deck. And the kings are associated with the full moon. So here we have, so what I was saying earlier is the full moon has a connection to the fire, right? The full reflection, 180-degree relationship with the sun. So that works if the kings are connected to fire. But I was confused because the knight has fire in his card as well too. So are the knights connected to fire or air, or is that not a layer that is part of this deck? So these are initial questions, and I know we have 3 more suits to go, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to reschedule my Wednesday deck reviews, and next Wednesday I'm going to come back, and what I would like to do is look at the 4 aces side by side, the 4 twos, and go through the deck that way. So I'm going to keep you waiting, and we'll do this next Wednesday so I can hop onto Facebook and have my Wednesday night Facebook chat. Okay, so thank you for being here, and I look forward to your feedback. And if you're interested, please come back next Wednesday and we'll carry on with an initial look at the Afterlight edition of the Forager's Daughter Tarot by Jessica Lei Howard. Okay, take good care, and I'll see you all soon. I'll be on Friday. I'm not sure if I put the thumbnail up or not yet, but I'll see some of you then. Bye for now.